Hello and welcome to my basic Ferry guide. In this guide I'm going to go over what Ferry can do at a fundamental level, as well as some of her mechanics. So the first thing you need to know about Ferry is that she can attack at range pretty well, and she can also attack at point blank using her right click when you time it correctly. Generally speaking, when playing Ferry, you want to time certain abilities and sequence things in such a way where you keep your animals up at all times and then combo to consume them. And then you want to build the animals back up and you want to manage cooldowns. These are the things that I've found to be successful. I have 30 hours on the character. I just unlocked Maniac mode, so I still have a long ways to go on the character, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of how the character works. So first of all, let's actually go over the build I'm using so you can copy it, or, you know, if you have a better build, definitely comment below. But these are the skills I like to use on her. I like Strafe, Hinrichten, Enrichen, I don't know, Purge Spirits, and Umlauf. So what do all these do? So Strafe gets all three animals out. It can be used at any range, and as long as you are locked on to the boss or aiming near the boss without lock on, it will summon all three of your animals and have them do a big attack. And you actually don't need to hold the attack like you see her doing here. You can actually cancel it, and then they still deal the same damage. This is really good because it gets all of your animals out, which allows you to do a right-click combo where you just run up to a boss, especially from behind, to get bonus damage. Right-click and just spam it down, and then you can right-click for as long as you can until the boss attacks you. You're going to get hit, and then at which point you can cancel, guard, dodge, or release, and then dodge afterwards. This ability, Hinrichen, is absolutely insane. Look at what it does. So you gain 50% to your attack, 30% crit rate. You gain extra damage, so supplementary damage causes all of your attacks, including I think the pet's attacks, to hit like a second time for bonus damage, and then you also become invincible. This is like the main point of this build, is summoning three things quickly, popping invincibility, and then resetting your cooldowns. So I'm going to go over like the passives I'm running too, but in order to get the invincibility, you need all three pets out. So you always get attack boost. One pet, you get crit boost. Two pets, you get supplementary damage. Three pets, you get invincibility. So generally, you do not want to pop this unless you have all three pets out. And they do expire over time, but they generally don't expire for a while, for like a minute or so. So as long as you just recently summoned them, you'll be fine. Purge Spirits, this is a huge burst damage attack that also summons all three pets immediately. It's a skill shot, meaning you can miss it. So if you're not paying attention, if a boss moves, if you're out of range, this can be a kind of problem. But once you get used to using this thing, it does huge spike, especially if it crits, and it also summons three pets. And then finally, we have Umlauf. No idea how to say some of these. You get a damage orb, but most importantly, you get Stout Heart, which when you upgrade her passives and masteries, you get a damage reduction, so you take less damage, and you do not get interrupted. So you still will take damage, but you won't get interrupted. So you can perform right-click combos, left-click combos, or like the left-click charge attack, and so on. And this allows you to stay in the fray without getting bounced, juggled, interrupted, and so on. So this is the basic combo I use. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, how do you heal outside of potions? Let me go to the gear. So for the weapon, I don't have the fully upgraded weapon. I'm missing one material. I'm about to get it. But I'm using the crit whip. I have 4 damage caps that I'm trying to level up. I have two quick cooldowns. I have a crit rate increase, so I'm pretty much near 100% crit at all times. And then when I pop the one ability, I'm at 100% crit. I have nimble defense. What does this do? It's the dodge one. Yeah, again, extends invincibility after perfect dodge, temporarily boosts defense, and restores a little bit of health. I also have dodge payback. I don't know if these stack. I need to test this. But if these do stack, it's 2 extra seconds of invincibility on dodge. This one also has guts, which is nice, so you survive a lethal hit. I just randomly got this. And then I have drain. Drain is very useful because you are going to be dealing a lot of damage, and your pets deal damage, so you're constantly healing yourself. So you can be a little bit aggressive, a little bit reckless, and just by having a basic drain, you will be pretty okay. Then I have crit damage. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm at damage cap, even with all these damage cap extensions. So I probably don't need the crit damage. I could probably change it to something else. I'm still figuring out like the min-maxing of some of these builds, but this build is pretty effective. It's been doing pretty well in Maniac mode. I haven't had any issues with it. So, all right, so there's the build. And for other skills that you could run on her, This one is nice. I sometimes run this as my number 4 skill. It summons a dude, and you also inflict defense reduction, which allows you and your entire team to deal more damage to bosses, which is nice. The slow, I could see how this could be useful to slow down things, slow down bosses. This is really useful. It boosts attack and defense as well as heals. You can use this on a team so you can be a more supportive role. And then this Pendel is nice. It summons 2. It summons the first 2. I'll also note that, what is it? This, right, not this, where is it? Umolf summons the 3rd spirit. So if you look at the position on the mini video, it summons the 3rd. That matters because when you build spirits from your charge attack, which I'll show in a second, it goes in order. So that actually matters. And then this, you dodge back. Pretty sure you have iframes. Yeah, she appears to have iframes. When I've used this, she seems to be invincible. So you have iframes, you dodge back, which can be useful for adding an extra dodge, because if you dodge 3 times in a row, your dodge goes on cooldown. So this could be a defensive thing that also summons 2 things. So either this or Umolf or Benediction, I would say, are totally fine. Or if you want the debuff, either of the debuffs, slow or defense, those are good as well. Depends on the situation, depends on what your team wants, depends on if you're queuing with other players. If you're queuing with other players, Benediction is nice because you don't know how good the players are going to be. They might be eating a ton of damage and dying a lot, so it might be nice to have a heal for your team. Okay, so this build I go for dodges. I get health and damage increase when I dodge, when I get a perfect dodge. So that allows me to stay in the fray and get a damage boost and also keep my durability up. So it's very fun. It's a very fun build, very dynamic. For masteries, I'm almost maxed out. So here's where I'm at for these. Obviously, if you're going to be running a character, you just want to max everything out. All right, so let's go over the basic mechanics now. So it's all about the animals. So the very most fundamental thing you should know is when you hold down your primary and then release it, you summon an animal, and then watch the animal. It starts attacking things. Now I can be doing whatever I want. The animals also don't get hurt, so they can just stay next to a dangerous boss performing all these attacks, and you're constantly dealing chip damage, which is nice. Now, if you keep doing this, you summon more animals. So just by positioning well, so let's say a boss is doing some big attack. The nice thing about Ferry is that she can very often use her primary whip attack and just keep whipping a boss, and then summon an animal after the boss's attack executes, and you can usually stay out of range of boss's attacks while dealing damage. And then your pets also help stack out damage as well. So you have pets that are constantly dealing damage, and even just by doing this and positioning well, you're going to be dealing really big damage and helping out your team in terms of setting up linked attacks, killing bosses, and so on. All right, now we have to talk about her right click. Her right click has less range, but it's like a big sphere, and it can hit things above her. And what it does is it takes all of your summoned pets, it forces them to enter this chain, and then you shoot them afterwards. Now, the reason why we want the pet reset is this. So you can do something like this, wait for their big combo, do a linked attack, and right click. And you can hold this for as long as you can safely do this, and it's good damage, and then you release it. And then this skill summons all 3. It does big damage. It just did 100k right there. And you can let them attack, or you can go for a big combo. But generally, the main point of this build is you want to get 3 pets out. Also, linked attacks give you 3 pets. So anytime there's a linked attack, especially after you've just used a right click and shot all of your pets into the enemy, you want to do the linked attack. You always do. It's bonus damage. It's free. Bosses usually can't respond to the attack. When you're using a linked attack on a boss, it doesn't really do anything in response. So it's just free damage, right? It also sets you up for the invincibility. So one of the main things I like to do, as soon as a fight opens, I use this skill. Dodge towards the boss, get behind the boss, pop this, I'm invincible, and then just stand in the boss. And then if I get a linked attack, use the linked attack, and then just stand behind the boss. You get bonus damage from behind, most characters do. It's in your basic mastery tree. And then after I've set that up, I'll pop this, do this, and I'll just stand on it with the damage orb, and I have Stout Heart. And then if an attack comes, I'll dodge, and then I'll start building up my ghosts again. Also notes with the orb, it counts you as having the 3rd one for the duration of the orb, so that when you right click, get that damage. And then the orb is also just dealing damage constantly. But generally speaking, I'll fight like this. I'll just go for whips. As soon as you see the one attack come out, you can whip and get a spirit, and then I'm usually dodging to avoid attacks. And if I have the opportunity to, and all my things are on cooldown, I'll just sit here and just whip for a while, do one of these. Maybe go for a linked attack, and then go for a right click into like a dodge or something. And then for your Skybound art, typically I'll use that when the boss is in overlimit, so it helps waste the boss's overlimit, depending on the boss. Now you have to hit the attack, so it looks something like this. It's pretty straightforward, it's nothing crazy. Now, you do get your spirits also. So, linked attack gives you spirits, Skybound art gives you 3 spirits. So if you're in between cooldowns, you can use that. And then, of course, you can always just DPS. You can just, like, sit here off to the side if the boss is doing a bunch of dangerous attacks. Go for chain attacks, or linked attacks, sorry. Just do something like this. Now, she does have other attacks, too. She has, like, a launcher. She can air combo. Then she has a right-click drop that does some decent damage. That's something to note. You generally don't want to use your right-click when you don't have spirits out because it does significantly less damage. So you can see here with the spirits, there's all these crazy effects. And then you shoot them into the boss. And then if you can linked attack, you can do it again, which is pretty awesome. So that's like a big combo you want to go for. And you don't want to keep holding in right-click if the boss is about to hit you, unless you're invincible. So generally speaking, what I'll do is I'll combo for as long as I safely can, and then I'll like dodge out, get invincibility, start building spirits up, or I'll burn through more of my cooldowns. And you can attack from pretty far away, so you have to get used to the distance. So I just built up 3 spirits here pretty quickly. Now there is this combo. Not that. Here, I'll show it. Middle of the linked attack. DK. So there's a combo that's in her command list. So if we go to command list, you can see that she has a basic combo. Left click hold, left click hold, left click hold. So it actually is different. So check this out. So here's like a basic left click release. So it's like two whips. We'll shoot our guy just to get rid of him. So it's like 2 whips, right? So if you keep dodging, you dodge. And if you dodge, actually, I guess it does let you link the dodges together. All right, so check this out. So there is a combo. You can do it quickly, too. I'm just holding and then releasing quickly. You notice the attacks are changing a little bit, and there's, like, attacks in between. Then it finishes with this, like, twirl attack. There also is a charge. That, which just does more damage and hits more times. So this can be useful to do. If you know the boss is about to do an attack and you're going to be, like, dodging soon, if you time it, hit with that and then dodge, that can be decent. And then of course you can like air combo, air dodge, stuff like that. Air combo is good for like chasing bosses because obviously when you're right clicking you're static, and when you're holding in left click you're static. And even when you're doing like certain abilities, like this is static until it hits, then you can dodge. And then this is good to be used at any range as long as it's safe. And then you should dodge immediately after to cancel because it still does the same damage. The pets will still go on their big spree. And you can get this huge combo off. Alright, then we can do like a basic combo. So here, let's say both our cooldowns are used. I'll just like build a pet up. Pop invincibility. And you can see in the upper left corner near my character, I have the supplemental damage, I have the crits. Then you can do another thing if you get a break. Or linked attack. Keep going for the combo. Get Skybound art. Get my pets back. So I got my pets back without using skills. Just from rebuilding off of the primary. From linked attack and then from Skybound art. So it's all about pet management, I would say. But that's it for this one. I just wanted to go over the basics. After I get more hours on this character and max out a lot of her weapons and try out more things, I'll do a follow-up video to go over specific builds. I'll probably do several follow-up videos. This is just the fundamentals, but I found like pretty big success with this character using these tactics, so I figured I'd share them. But yeah, that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed this or found this useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.